live from Nachtlab Radio. This is Ray for a Revolution, where we're going to explore if electronic music is capable of creating a revolution. Today, my guests are Naji from Georgia, Tbilisi, from this infamous club called Bassiani, where gay rights have been defended for last year, where the right to take drugs has been defended for the last year. My other guests are the Jazar crew from Palestine, Haifa, and Ramallah, who are here to not only talk about the amazing things that they've accomplished in the last couple of years, but also to play an hour-long set going from 6 till 7. For now, I'm just going to invite everybody to join me in this radio booth and talk a little bit of what I've been doing. My name's Femke. I'm your host. I'm a resident of Red Light Radio, and I moderated a panel today called Ray for a Revolution. I'm not sure what he did. brave for a revolution. Um, so joining me today, as I already said, my guests from Tbilisi and my guests from Haifa, and I'm really happy they're here. We had an amazing but very short conference on the role of electronic music and the way that we move can actually create a revolution. I basically want to ask my guests, with me in the booth are Borge from Jazar, Naja from Bassiani, and Georgi from Bassiani. And I would like to ask them all to maybe share the thoughts that they had on hearing each other's stories today. I would be interested in, like, was it the first time you met each other? And what did you think of what was being said this afternoon?
Hello. First, we heard about the Bassiani.
I'm trying to think if there's sound. Can you talk it to the mic? I'm not sure. This
Yeah.
is not my radio
Okay.
station, and I think we need to turn up the mic on the mixer, maybe. I plugged in an extra mic for us because we have so many guests today. And I'm just trying to figure out if there's someone. Yeah, we're good. I mean, I'm hearing a ploof. Yeah, you're good.
So I hope it's good. Maybe
Yeah.
this microphone is
I'll
working.
try that one. Let's see what happens.
Now we can
Yeah.
hear me?
Oh, so much better.
So yeah, we heard about the Bassiani from last year before the preparation for Stad nach Acht, the conference in Berlin, and then we met them there in a panel together that we participated, and each one gave a little presentation about the movement and about the city, the crowd, the organizing, and we kept in touch via Facebook. We followed each other. We liked each other's posts. We followed the stories. We supported from far and looked forward for this event also to meet again. And today we had more time actually to talk to each other and hear more the stories about each other. And so nice, amazing to hear these things, motivating, inspiring, give you ideas, and have many things in common for our crowd, and how the relations between curating event, between curating things in the nightlife in front of the crowd and your local crowd,
Mm-hmm.
and that's very very nice, and yeah.
It says like, Naja, you're, is that the same for you as well? We have your interpreter here, so I also just like the fact that we can now just hear Georgian on the radio, and that we'll have a translator. I once did an interview with an artist who was deaf, and that for the radio. That was really interesting. But anyway, back to the subject. Yeah, so meeting the Jazar crew again today. Did they say something, or did it make you realize once again that you share similar situations, and that you should look for similar solutions, maybe?
ყველა ჩვენგანი ვსაუბრობთ ჩვენი ქვეყნების პრობლემებზე, ჩვენ ქვეყანაში არსებულ უთანასწორობაზე, თუ რა ხდება ჩვენ ქვეყანაში პოლიტიკური მიმართულებით თუ ეკონომიკური მიმართულებით, მაგრამ როდესაც ვსაუბრობთ ჩვენ ქვეყანაზე, ეს ვრცელდება, ეს არის გლობალურად, იმიტომ რომ ჩვენ რისთვისაც ვიბრძვით, ეს არის გლობალური პრობლემები, მხოლოდ ერთ ქვეყანას არ შეეხება, ეს იქნება ჰომოფობია, ქსენოფობია, ქალების მიმართ, ქალთა მიმართ ძალადობის დამარცხება. ამიტომ ვფიქრობ, რომ ჩვენ ყველას საერთო გვაქვს, მაგრამ თვითონ შეიძლება პრობლემების იყოს, ან განსხვავებული არ იქნება პრობლემები, მაგრამ ზოგან ჰომოფობია უფრო მაღალი მაჩვენებელია, თქვათ, ვიდრე დასავლეთში თუნდაც ევროპაში.
All right, let me translate this. Although we are from different countries, well, they met before, and although they are from different countries, there are certain problems and there are certain situations that are similar, and we share the fight against violence and fight against homophobia, and that this is something that we share.
Mm-hmm.
Well, these problems are more pronounced in Georgia than in the West, but nevertheless, it's the same problems.
Yeah, I think I do want to ask you though, and I think it wasn't really it slightly came up this afternoon. The fact that, of course, we're part of this huge congress and festival, which is very much focused on business. It always was, and then sometimes you feel that you're the token panel on, you know, queer rights, or you're the token panel on women's rights. And I was wondering, when you got the invite to participate in this panel for the Amsterdam Dance event, did you have any reservations about it?
ზოგადად მე ამ სფეროს როგორც ბიზნეს ვერ წარმოვიდგენ, ჩემთვის უფრო ნებისმიერი ეს სივრცეებს უფრო უყურებ როგორც სოციალურ მოძრაობებს, სოციალურ მიმართულებით მომუშავე მოძრაობებს, ვიდრე თქვათ აღებულ ბიზნეს მოდელს, ამიტომ სადაც არ უნდა წავიდე და რა წარმოდგენების არ უნდა მქონდეს, მე ყოველთვის ვისაუბრებ მის სოციალურ კონტექსტზე და პოლიტიკურ კონტექსტზე და არ ვისაუბრებ თქვათ რაღაც კომერციულ დატვირთვაზე. ჩემს არ აქვს მნიშვნელობა რომ იყოს თქვათ უფრო ისეთი კონფერენციები, რომელიც იქნება ბიზნესზე ორიენტირებული, მე მაინც ჩემს სათქმელს ვიტყვი და ეს სათქმელი ყოველთვის იქნება ის, რასაც ვსაუბრობ. ჩვენ გვჭირდება ცვლილებები, ჩვენ გვჭირდება თანასწორობის ბრძოლა, ჩვენ გვჭირდება უთანასწორობის წინააღმდეგ ბრძოლა, ამიტომ ამას არ აქვს მნიშვნელობა თუ როგორ სად მიიღებ მონაწილეობა. პრინციპში პირიქით უნდა შევიჭრათ ზუსტად ისეთ სივრცეებში, სადაც არ გველოდებიან და იქ უნდა ვისაუბროთ იმ თემებზე, უთანასწორობაზე, სადაც არ გველიან, იმიტომ ჩვენ ვიცით, რომ ყოველ შემთხვევაში ჩემ ქვეყანაში ბიზნესი ძალიან უთანასწოროა.
She speaks in a very poetic and enigmatic way. So
I can actually see that in the way she's
Yes.
talking, and I wish I could speak that language, because it's
Well, for her, just let's start from the start. She doesn't look at this as a business for herself. This is a platform for social understanding and social movements, and where people meet. So no matter if there are some countries where this is a big business, and you mentioned that this is such a big business here, for her it's not really that. She doesn't see it that way. She sees this way of spreading the fight against homophobia and injustice, and that's how she approaches this, not as a business entity. And she thinks that it's good. It's a right time to enter the spaces where it's a business only, and bring on the ideas of fight against social injustice.
At least we were not hidden away in a small back room today, but we got quite a large venue where we could share the ideas. Maybe to get my friends from Haifa here as well, you're going to play a full DJ set later on, which I'm really excited to hear. You also, I think, when you came up, not only did you manage to convince people to come over to your parties, like for instance, like the Nicholas Jaar, which was quite a famous event, him also actually having roots, I heard, in the Palestinian community. But could you explain a little bit for the people that are tuned in now what DJs for Palestine, what kind of movement that is, and how that affiliates with the Jazar crew?
I mean, basically this movement have been started with from London, from two guys, a guy called Gideon and Ben Yofo. This kind of artists who just felt that having a solidarity not only
No, I can't hear you either, and so that I'm not sure if we're live still then. Can we try? Hey, yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. No, it's yeah, I do sort of hear you, but not really. Maybe we pushed the button there. I don't know if there's anyone here from the radio. There's this lovely lady walking in. We seem to have lost contact with the mic. Nope. No, it should be guest one. No, that is definitely not working. No, this mic should be guest one and or DJ. Hmm. Let's put on some music. That's always a good idea. When you're on the radio, do music.
We're trying to understand the power of vibration.
Think we're back on. I'm just going to turn up the mic a little bit. Yes, no feedback, and I do hear myself, so this is all working. That's all good. What was this track? Do
What
you
was
know?
the track, Rouge?
But not related to our conversation at all. That is
But we can.
It's related to the dance floor, related to
Yeah.
sound, related to
What are you looking for as a crew when you do sets? What kind of like does it do you let it depend on the setting where you are, like how you play and what type of music you play, or do you feel like sometimes as a DJ I feel like an educator almost. I want people to hear the sounds that they haven't heard before.
It's, I mean, you're right, actually, educator, but in a way of, you know, not a hypocritical way, absolutely. It's when we started to make our parties and bringing the sound to the dance floor and bringing the sound to Haifa and Ramallah and to our crowd, it was few missions. One mission is to introduce the people to this sound that related to an oppression from all over the world. Like if we talk about Chicago house, about Detroit house, about like all these techno sounds, where it's coming from, and why these sounds are created, and why these dance floors have been created. We're talking about Paris is burning, you know, like all these revolutions all over the world. We wanted through this music to connect our crowd to the oppression, to the international oppression, so we can connect from national oppression to international oppression. And that was actually our mission. And we're still doing it, yeah? This is our one of our main missions. And if you're asking about like what does it mean for you like to play the sound and which sound, this is basically the message behind it.
The
And
core of what you do.
exactly, and we actually we never called ourselves like, you know, we don't even like it to say like, yeah, we are a DJs, you know, like we are, you know, it's much more to bring the music, to select.
Sharing this, yeah, the curating, what we talked about this afternoon already, right?
Absolutely.
Also, when we started our parties, we didn't play music, we didn't DJ, but then because we wanted to share specific sound, electronic sound, and that what we needed actually to put the people together on the dance floor and to dance like crazy and to express themselves, and this where we found the electronic music is the best thing to do. The alternative sound, let's call it, because the main sound was Arabic sound, as we said, the wedding or the normal music about love, depression, whatever it is. And then we wanted the alternative one, which what came in is the electronic music. So after this, we have low cost in our party and things like this. So, and we knew exactly what sound we wanted. We had to do it by ourselves. So we started to play music. And for our party, as we said also before in the panel, and for our parties to create a dance floor, to create this moments that all of us together dancing for revolution, we play all kind of sounds. We play techno, we play bass music to create the moment. But when we go abroad to play in a cultural event or in a film festival event, or if we play in a radio show like yesterday, Red Light Radio or NTS Radio, we play sound from the people who dance in the dance floor, for our friends, our family, to share their sounds. Mostly hip-hop, mostly ambience, alternative rock, people that related to us and around us. But for the dance floor music or rave, what we're making like techno, electronic music, and this is what we do.
I find it really nice that you bring back the sounds of home, bring them with you when you go abroad. Georgi, is that the same for you? It's like when you go abroad, are you aware of your role as an exporter of the sound of Georgia?
Oh, well, as I'm not a DJ and I'm not playing music, when I go abroad, I think it's all about exporting your exporting your ideas and your opinions and the experience which you see in your life. Like when Jazar crew comes to Amsterdam, when we come to Amsterdam, when we meet each other, we are bringing our own experience to each other. And it's especially becomes very exciting when you see that those experiences are very similar to each other. Of course, they are different, they are unique in their own way, but at the same time, it's very similar because more or less, we as a people, generally, we have some same problems, same issues, same, more or less, yeah.
Do you meet up? You are a very active member of the gay activist movement in Georgia. Do you meet up with your peers when you're here and discuss things? Because Amsterdam, of course, has always had the image of being a very tolerant city, but the last couple of years we faced the same move to this neoliberal right,
Yeah.
where it's actually becoming less and less accepted to walk hand in hand with your partner on the street.
Yeah. Yes, we are meeting, and like when I was going to that radio show, I was just approached from guys who were at this panel, and they were from India, and they just told me that they decriminalized homosexuality in India like 2 weeks ago,
Yeah, exactly.
and we were sharing. I mean, yes, of course, this is what we actually do, and this is why it's important to share experiences. And of course, I'm also meeting lots of people from queer community here. Yeah.
Maybe it's time to share some music
Yeah.
again. Roger, are you
The
ready?
thing is that this is what about I mean the rave culture in general, how it started. It was created by the people who had so many problems in their lives, and when we are speaking about the political importance of dancing and rave culture, this is that I mean while you are dancing and even when you are partying, you are still very connected to your life and to your society and everything which is around you. So you are thinking about these problems and you are reflecting on it. It's a very constant process, even when you are partying. Yes, and this is what gives the political importance of the raves and generally. And the thing that the rave scene now is like bringing back this political importance is really amazing, because I think that it doesn't quite matter where do you live, or it's actually it's a matter of. I mean, yeah, we share the problems. We have the problems, so we have to think about it. And
The fact that you had a lot of media attention worldwide, is that something that helped you in your cause back home in Georgia?
well, yes. For example, in case of this revolution, when 15,000 people took the streets to save Bassiani and Georgian clubs, also in that case, the international media response and everything helped, because the government, they were more like frightened or like this, because it was an international scandal. But the support generally helps always, especially from the right people.
I think we need to get back to some music. Roger?
To say that I will play now a track, because we said before, local track from a friend, that actually tonight other guys from Jazar crew is playing in Ramallah for the opening of the Palestinian Cinema Days. It's happening today. It's a film festival that happens in Ramallah, and Jazar crew, the other members, are opening a DJ set in Ramallah together with Mukata, and I will give you a little taste from it.
just want to hear the name of the track and the artist again, just before we forget.
By مقاطعة in the album called لا لسان له, without a song. The name of the track زيادة نقص.
I think we just should make a little track list before you guys leave, so I can look this all up and buy this off of Juno or Beatport or whatever station there is. Going back to, using the body as a way of putting topics on the agenda. I think often when we try to analyze it, we have a very Western perspective, or at least the people in my immediate surroundings, we have a very Western perspective of how things should be organized and how we should take care of things. Is that something that is being openly discussed by people that come from different parts of the world? I don't want to call it the neo-colonialist attitude, but I do feel that sometimes we tend to, like, we in the West, we know what's best. We've been, so I'm wondering, do you encounter problems like that, and then you just go like, sorry, but we're just doing this in a different way?
I mean, it's really a good question, even like, to itch your mind a bit also. But yeah, of course, I mean, we face it. For example, if we're talking now about not the party side, but let's talk about the conflict side, or like the activism side. We have a lot of NGOs back home, and honestly, it's one of our also problems. Facing the oppression and facing solving our own problems, as you said, like like being like Western, and West is the best, and I'm coming, like coming with their budget and with the money to help, and of course
We'll save you.
we'll save you exactly, and absolutely. I mean, what we did, what we're still doing, it's creating our own space, our own safe place as we see it, because at the end of the day, it's our revolution, and we know what's good and what's not good for ourselves. Of course, it's always welcome to have help from all over, absolutely. But it's the problem when somebody coming and teaching you about your own revolution. Then it became like a really a big problem. And I think our spirit and our work and our activism, it's coming from a very, very, very deep place where we realized, and I mentioned it before in the panel, how important is our existence, and we really take care of it. And we know how to take care of it. And of course, we book DJs from all over the world, we book DJs from the Western world, they come and they get in through an experience that we really happy and satisfied that this experience that they should get. We are welcoming you. You're here to help us with our revolution, and not to teach us how to deal with our revolution.
But do you then still expect, like for instance, with Nicholas Jaar again, it's the example that we've been using throughout today. Do you hope, or is that a wish, that by inviting him, he will bring a larger or make your struggle visible for a larger audience?
Absolutely. And actually, the story with Nicholas Jaar is really special one, since it was like from both sides. We wanted to book him, and he was very open for making this, and he was even thinking about this even before we've been connecting to each other. And I must say that his way of coming and supporting, it was totally original and totally coming from a place of full support based on a very high level of awareness. And this is like really makes it and that's what gave actually the huge echo after we hosted him. Then it became for a larger scale for all over the world, put the closure in on Palestine, on Palestinian producers, on Palestinian music scene. And yes, absolutely, Nicholas Jaar coming to perform in Palestine, that made a huge step for the whole scene. And that was actually continued until the Boiler Room came. It was like, honestly, it's started with our own activism since beginning. Then Nicholas Jaar, helped a lot with putting the closure, and now Boiler Room, it's continuity of it.
Maybe another difficult to answer question, but what is your stance? Of course, there's also a lot of DJs that have decided not to perform in Israel, for instance, because of their oppression of the West Bank. What do you feel those people or those DJs should do? I mean, it's always a difficult decision, like when you're asked to come somewhere where it's like, or for instance, like Tbilisi, I would love to play. But then again, yes, the politics are something that, bears reflection. But is it better? Sometimes you feel, is it better to stay away or not?
I mean, it's the cultural of boycott. It have to be in everything, like not only boycott in Israel or in America or this, like boycott also two neighbors that you see one neighbor doing something wrong, you decide to not support him, or if there is a shop that not paying his workers well, or doesn't give right for his crew, and you also don't go and buy in this shop. So it's nothing. It's logic in human basics, and to see
Doing your research basically. If
yes,
you're
it's
invited
doing
to a
your
place.
research and not being ignorant, and to see every day that people oppressed lives in Palestine, a few kilometers from the most famous Tel Aviv club night scene, that they can't go party, they can't fly, they can't import or export, they can't have the basic needs, electricity and water, and things like this. And DJ just to go have 6 hours of nice moments to go play. This is not all right, This is, and as an artist, when you have followers and you have the power to influence many fans, just to say no, I'm not going to play there, which is it's not violence. You don't punch anybody, you don't throw stones, you don't curse. You just say no, I'm not going to play there. It's very peaceful, and it's not violence at all. This makes awareness for the Israeli ravers, the crowd that goes to the party, that they can say, hey, there's something wrong going on here. We should make a pressure on our government to stop this thing, and to stop the apartheid. And it's just awareness, it's just solidarity, and I support this very much, and I appreciate every artist who doing this, because it's really not violence. This is the way of helping a lot and make the people know what's going on, to not forget. Because if you go and play there, it's mean, okay, everything is all right, everything is normal, and we can party, there is no war. But when you don't play there, you really think about the people few hundred meters next to you.
I think that's also an interesting question to put to you, Georgi. I just bumped into my friend Dekker, who played Bassiani not too long ago, and he was saying how he had an amazing night, and all these things happened that he wasn't prepared for them happening. Like this guy showed up and he used Frankenmurf, which is this incense that they use in church, and he did a whole ritual in front of the DJ booth. Do you, when you select DJs to perform at Bassiani, do you look for people that will support your cause, or is it the music that's always going to be the most important thing, or how do you kind of engage them into the other agenda you have?
Well, I'm not actually selecting quite DJs of Bassiani. I'm not a booker of Bassiani, so it's really hard for me to answer this question. Like,
Should we ask Naja? No.
Naja is also, she's not a booker. Yeah.
But how do you engage the people? Because you do meet the people that visit your club, and I was wondering how you engage them into a conversation, or let's say an abstract conversation in the topics that you want to address.
ყველაზე მნიშვნელოვანი არის რომ საცეკვაო მოედანი გამოიყენოს სწორად და ჩვენ მართლა ძალიან სწორად გამოვიყენეთ, რადგან მახსოვს 4 წლის წინ საერთოდ ქალები არ დადიოდნენ ტექნოკლუბში, ანუ არ დადიოდნენ ტექნო ფართებზე და ზოგჯერ მართლა მარტოს მიწევდა ხოლმე ცეკვა. ჩემთვის იყო ძალიან დიდი ტკივილი და თუ კი ვინმეს დავიჭერდი ხოლმე, ანუ ქალს, რომელიც ცეკოდა, მივიდოდი მადლობას ვხდიდი. აი ეს მსგავსი ინტერაქციებით მოვახდინეთ, რომ მეტი ადამიანი ჩავრთეთ ჰუმანური ნარკოპოლიტიკის ჰუმანიზაციაში, ბრძოლაში. მოვახერხეთ, რომ ჰომოფობიის პრობლემა დაგვეძლეს საცეკვაო მოედანზე. არასდროს არ უნდა შეხედო საცეკვაო მოედანს ბექსტეიჯიდან ან ზემოდან, ყოველთვის უნდა იყო ხალხთან ერთად და იმ ხალხის მაჯის თემაზე უნდა გიდოს ხელი, იმიტომ რომ ყველაზე მნიშვნელოვანი არის ზუსტად ერთ დღამში შეცვლილი ადამიანები.
So the most important thing is to use the dance floor there on the right way, because I remember when 4 years ago in Tbilisi, women, for example, they were not going to techno parties usually, and I was standing almost alone. Then when I saw several girls on the dance floor, I started talking with them and communicating with them and like empowering, saying thank you. And then this is how I started, for example, incorporating women on the dance floor. And right now it's so many women also partying at Bassiani and also the same we can say about the homophobia and the drug policy, because you have the space and you have you don't look you should not look at this space from the backstage or from the upper side. You as a club owner or the party maker, you have to be the part of the crowd. And yeah, and you should be listening to them and talking with them to know what's happening in the crowd and their views and everything. And we have so many stories of persons who change their mind in like one night.
It's like the story you told this afternoon during the panel when you had someone in the audience for Horum come up to you and say like, thank you, I was against you a couple of years ago, fighting you, but now I'm at your party and I feel accepted and I accept you. And it's that's amazing if you do realize that by creating this space for people to meet and regardless of their background or their religion or their sexual preferences, people can just meet and talk.
Even the people who are, even the people who are in a daily life maybe against each other, like or fighting against each other, and then they start reuniting on the dance floor. Yeah.
და მე მახსოვს გიორგი თავის ბოյფრენდთან ერთად საცეკვაო მოედანზე რო იდგა 4 წლის წინ უკავი დექერ როგორც დაცვამი და მეშინოდა ვინმეს რამე არ დაეშავებინა, იმიტომ მაშინ ძალიან მაღალი მაჩვენებელი იყო ამ ჰომოფობიური და ტრანსფობიური მაჩვენებელს და ანუ ადამიანები ზალადობდნენ, მაგრამ ნუ აი ამან მოიტანა რომ საცეკვაო მოედანზე თითქმის არც ერთი ჰომოფობიური შემთხვევა არ ქონია და გიორგის მეუბნებოდა რომ თავი დაანებე ყველად გახარ, მაინც არავინ არ მოვა. ეს არის ძალიან მნიშვნელოვანი, მაგრამ დღესაც თქვით და ჩვენ არ უნდა დავარჩეთ შეგით, ანუ მხოლოდ ერთი უსაფრთხო სივრცე არ უნდა იყოს. აუცილებელია რომ ჩვენ ეს ჩვენი აი ეს უსაფრთხო სივრცე გარეთაც გავიტანოთ, იმიტომ რომ სხვანაირად მაშინ ანუ იქნებით ისევ იატაკ ქვეშეს და ზოგადად საზოგადოებასაც სოციუმსაც ვინ შეეძლება ეგ უნდა. ამიტომ უნდა ვეცადოთ რომ გარეთაც ხმამაღლა ვისაუბროთ ამ პრობლემებზე.
She was remembering story of me and my boyfriend when, like 4 years ago, me and my boyfriend, when we were standing on the dance floor of Bassiani, and at that time, not so many gay people also were going to techno parties and actually like kissing each other publicly or like this. And when we were like hugging or kissing each other at the dance floor, me and my boyfriend, and she was standing behind us like a bodyguard or like this because she was afraid. No one comes, and so that no one did any harm to us. And I was like, Nadia, everything is okay. Just be calm. Nobody's gonna like harm us. Cause like look around. It's different than it is in day life in Georgian society. So yeah, but the main thing is that not to look on a dance floor only. We have to bring all this everything. We should bring everything outside, and I think that, and this is what I can add to your opinion, that we all the revolution thing actually was that, because 5 years ago, me and several gay activists tried to organize a rally against homophobia in the streets, and we were attacked by the 20,000 people, and we just wanted to make some messages like homophobia, anti-homophobic, but not in an aggressive way, but just saying to the society that homophobia is it's wrong. On a human level, it's very wrong, of course. And 5 years after, we were sending 20,000 people at the same place. And for the 2 consecutive days, we were talking about LGBT rights, women's rights, about homophobia, social, economical injustice. This revolution thing actually was that, because after the parties the next day, for the whole day, we invited people from many social, and not only social movements or organizations, but it actually was an open microphone. So everyone could come and like tell their problems and their views. And this is actually what we did, bringing it into into the streets, yeah, and the changes, and also, but the bad thing is actually that 5 years ago, there was barricades between us and those far-right groups. Right now, of course, we were 20,000 and they were several hundred, but still there are barricades between us, and I think that the next challenge is to broke these barricades between us and the guys who we...
Conservatives, they need to talk
Yeah, at least they need to start dancing
together,
with us, yeah.
Start dancing. I'm going to give the mic to... All right, do you want to talk into this one?
Yes, sir.
No, I'm just thinking like the struggles that you already said you have, the same issues that you're dealing with. You're also dealing with a very conservative society, and then you organize these events that are open and inclusive and for everyone. Is there a lot of resistance, publicly resistance against what you're doing back home,
I mean, because our location is, we are moving between Haifa and Ramallah. I mean, basically that's the main cities that we are active in with our colleagues from Ramallah and also in Haifa, our movement. So it's totally different as an obstacles. There's totally different obstacles in Haifa and totally different obstacles in Ramallah.
What's the biggest in Haifa, for instance?
With the Haifa obstacles, of course, it's in terms of making, for example, outdoor party, it's kind of impossible, for example, like a permissions. I mean, to get a permissions from the Israeli government as a Palestinian collective, you need to collaborate. Yeah. And collaborating, it's not really what we want, because you're literally...
You have your own story to tell?
I mean, you're literally collaborating with the one who oppressed you. Yeah, like if we're talking about like getting into details, municipality, of even funds to the Ministry of Culture, Ministry of Education, Ministry of, that's, you can see the difference between like as an Israeli and as a Palestinian. So of course you don't want to collaborate. And let's move to for example, Ramallah obstacles. For example, venues, there's barely venues. Party must end at midnight. There's a huge gap, between the authorities and the youth and the artists and the music scene. Totally huge gap. No understanding, like they don't really get what we do. They don't really get what we want to do. They don't really get what is the goal of partying, of this culture. They totally stereotype it with drugs, with sexual intentions, like...
Women's rights?
Women's rights, absolutely. So it's totally far. And, I mean, for example, the boiler room, the last boiler room that happened, there is so many problems happened right after. Because the authorities saw so many faces in the video, and they kind of investigated and like they followed some people. So these kind of obstacles, and again, as I said, like we are facing a conservative society, that there's a huge gap between us and the older generation, and even a progressive generation, also middle generation. They don't really get what we do. I mean, and there is so many reasons, and there is so many influences. Also, a big part of it, it's the oppression of the occupation. That's kind of blocking opportunities, blocking way of thinking, blocking so many things, of course, because you're being stuck, oppressed in one place, in a totally consuming oppression on all its levels. So,
yeah, it's hard to break through. Like when your first problem is actually just survival, then how can you address things about...
I want to say something, actually. The Bassianis, for example, for us, it's been a really big inspiration of their movement, of their activism. I mean, what they've been doing and bringing the dance floor out to the streets, that was like such a brilliant, amazing look. I'm like having a goosebumps like when talking about it. Like bringing the dance floor to the streets to march and to protest against those conservative minds, conservative government. This is actually what we are working for, what we want in a very peaceful way, of course, yeah? Just to make this gap smaller and exactly to rise up our voices, to talk with the people who we belong to each other. I mean, we are living in the same place, just to bring it over and to make a healthy dialogue. That's what we want. And you guys, the Bassiani guys, seriously, they made it perfectly. We just like holding fingers all over for you guys. And
well, the dialogue is the right word which describes it better, because I was wanted to speak about this when you asked the question about dealing with the conservative people. I think that everything is about the right communication and the right words and your sincere desire that you want to influence or make some changes. I mean, my brother, for example, he was extremely homophobic. He was almost going to kill me when he actually found out that I'm a gay. But it's about how you connect with people. So on broader scales, when you are speaking about dealing with the conservative society, the society is it's a mixture of people. It's a mixture of human beings. So you have to find the right ways and the sincere ways how to communicate with them and tell them that, like, hey, my friend, you are not right. I think that you are not right, and that's why I think. And then you start a dialogue, and then you start a discussion. And if the person is not politically motivated or like this, for example, I don't see a big point in speaking with the political establishment or religious establishment, because the people who really knows that they are wrong are themselves. They know what they do. They know better than us. Absolutely. So there is no big point speaking with them. It's better to speak with your friends of your friends, with neighbors, to speak with the society, and
so you can create almost the ripple effect.
Yeah. And in this process, dancing turned out to be the clubs and dance floor itself to be the best way to communicate, because actually music and dancing is what everyone loves and everyone likes. Everyone loves dancing. During the revolution things, when we are standing thousands of people over there, and when we had loud music, those far-right groups were standing on the same streets after the barricades. And I'm pretty sure that some of them would maybe not started dancing, but at least in their minds they wanted to kind of follow us. Because on the other side there was a really great vibe, thousands of people united against inequality and all the injustice which was happening. And I mean, if I was among them, among the far-right groups, I would really question myself. What am I doing here? Look at them, it's like this. So, and dancing is what everyone loves. So it's really easy tool, and it's a very natural tool. This is actually how we started becoming like human beings, from dancing and rituals, and this is how it all started actually.
I think we should dance some more in the DJ booth. I'm gonna give back. Yeah, I'm really curious. Let's see if we.
So this track made by Gom, its name Barzakh, member of our label Harara. So this track is by Gom. It's called Barzakh. It's one member of our label, Harara label. Ghost of Myself. Check it out.
crew taking over Nakhlab Radio for the next hour. Thank you to my guests, Nadia, here, thank you for this wonderful conversation. Thank you, ADE, for making this an amazing day.
إنه جميل جدا. أنت تستيقظ في الصباح وحيد تماما ولست بحاجة لإخبار شخص ما أنك تحبه عندما أصبحت. إنه جميل جدا. أنت تستيقظ في الصباح وحيد تماما ولست بحاجة لإخبار شخص ما أنك تحبه عندما أصبحت. تستيقظ في الصباح وحيدا تماما ولست بحاجة لإخبار شخص ما أنك تحبه عندما أصبحت لا تحبه. إنه جميل جدا. تستيقظ في الصباح وحيدا تماما ولست بحاجة لإخبار شخص ما أنك تحبه عندما أصبحت لا تحبه. إنه جميل جدا. تستيقظ في الصباح وحيدا تماما ولست بحاجة لإخبار شخص ما أنك تحبه عندما أصبحت لا تحبه. إنه جميل جدا. تستيقظ في الصباح ولست بحاجة لإخبار شخص ما ولست بحاجة لإخبار شخص ما إنه جميل جدا. تستيقظ في الصباح لا تحب تماما ولست بحاجة لإخبار شخص ما إنه جميل جدا أن تستيقظ في الصباح وحيد تماما ولست بحاجة لإخبار شخص ما عندما أصبحت ذلك. إنه جميل جدا أن تستيقظ في الصباح وحيد تماما ولست بحاجة لإخبار شخص ما أنك تحبه عندما أصبحت ذلك. إنه جميل جدا أن تستيقظ في الصباح وحيدا تماما ولست بحاجة جميل جدا أن تستيقظ في الصباح تماما وحيدا ولست بحاجة لإخبار شخص لست بحاجة لإخبار شخص ما عندما أصبحت لا تحبه عندما أصبحت لا تحبه. جميل جدا sans rien ni personne sans avoir à dire je t'aime ولست بحاجة car je ne t'aime plus. Que c'est beau de se réveiller chaque matin sans rien ni personne, sans avoir à dire le mot je t'aime, car je ne t'aime plus. إنه جميل جدا أن تستيقظ في الصباح وحيدا تماما ولست بحاجة لإخبار شخص ما أنك تحبه عندما أصبحت لا
around me illusions of sameness, and all around me illusions of sameness abundance, illusions of sameness abundance, degenerate into an unnecessary series of hostile elements. I'm really sick of hostile elements. All around me illusions of sameness, and all around me illusions of sameness, and all around me illusions of sameness abundance, illusions of sameness abundance, degenerate into an unnecessary series of hostile elements. I'm really sick of hostile elements. All around me illusions of sameness, and all around me illusions of sameness, and all around me illusions of sameness abundance, illusions of sameness abundance, degenerate into an unnecessary series of hostile elements. I'm really sick of hostile elements. Illusions of sameness, and all around me illusions of sameness, and all around me illusions of sameness abundance, illusions of sameness abundance, degenerate into an unnecessary series of hostile elements. I'm really sick of hostile elements. All around me illusions of sameness, and all around me illusions of sameness, and all around me illusions of sameness abundance, illusions of sameness abundance, degenerate into an unnecessary series of hostile elements. I'm really sick of hostile elements. صوتي إنه الآن وتر وحيد يقاوم كحبل غسيل لا تطاله الريح وإن سدت مساماتي صوتي في زندي وإن قطعت أوصالي صوتي رنيم القلب، وإن أسكت نبضه صوتي مرآة روحي، وإن استلبت روحي غنائي يسطح في الميادين شمسا لا تنطفئ في الحناجر. شمسا لا تنطفئ في الحناجر. وتر وحيد وتر وحيد وتر وحيد يقاوم وتر وحيد يقاوم وتر وحيد يقاوم يقاوم. وتر وحيد يقاوم كحبل غسيل لا تطاله الريح.
I've been wanting you for a long time. Now that I finally got you, I don't want to let you go. You should know by now, I'm the man for you. Jackpot.